Let me tell you a story. That's a quote many people use when telling a story from their perspective. Some people use it to rub something in other people's face. For example, my teacher in middle school would always tell people about how he would snipe me out in a game called Mat Ball. It's a game like kickball. He didn't though, I always got passed, but he likes to think that he always got me out. This person is Mr. LeBron. He is my coach and the person that's had the most positive impact on my life these past few years. He's had this impact by pushing me to run, coming up with his amazing speeches, and making sure I always make good decisions. Mr. LeBron is like a second father to me because of his encouraging influence. The first way Mr. LeBron has influenced me is by making me the successful runner I am today. He's taught me that in order to be a good runner, you have to be extremely devoted to this sport and train year-round to see any progress as you get older. Though I have had to make tough decisions for this sport. So let me tell you a story. Mr. LeBron told me I would get nowhere with basketball, but I would with running. And he's 100% correct, so I ended up quitting basketball, and I'm still happy with that decision to the day. To add on to this, one of the biggest things he's taught me is that running is all a mental game, and that goes for everything. You're not going to be a successful runner unless you have a positive attitude. You must be positive, or else you're going to drain out extremely fast, and you're going to make the people around you miserable at the same time. And it takes a lot of pep talks to keep me motivated, and that leads me to one of his best talents, speeches and quotes. Mr. LeBron's speeches and quotes are one of the most inspirational things I've ever heard. During races, if I'm starting to slow down, he'll say a quote that really helps. And I don't really remember even half of them because I'm always dying during my race. I do remember one, and he said something along the lines of, "Give it all now, you can't give it later." He said this towards the end of my race, and it was just like a reminder to me that I had to run hard there and then, or else I was going to regret it later on. Some of the biggest things he's taught us, some of his biggest speeches are when the team is being negative. He'll tell us to change the atmosphere at that moment or to just leave. And I think that's changed all of us for the better. It's made us do our job effectively and positively. So we won't be as upset when we get to practice because no one likes going to practice when everyone's upset. It's just hard. And I think that's a huge life lesson that'll help us in the future. Sometimes you just gotta fake it till you get into the flow of it, and then sometimes you might even start loving it. Anyways, to add on to this, he's basically a mind reader. I'm not kidding, I'm being for real. So let me tell you a story. Say I'm upset, but I seem fine as usual to everyone else. See, Mr. LeBron knows as soon as something is off. He'll check up on me and make sure I'm all right. And if something's up, he'll talk me through it. And just having a person there to talk to has really helped me. Especially if I'm my genius, because he knows what to say on the dot. Once I've had a good pep talk, I still need to stay in line and make good decisions. And that's where Mr. LeBron comes around with the best advice and making sure I make smart choices. He lets me know that if anyone messes with me, I stand up for myself, and I have his permission to fight back. In addition, he's made sure I don't post funny things on social media that everyone else finds funny, but things my family wouldn't. And I guess that's an important life lesson, but yeah. He also makes sure I don't let boys mess with my head. He's given me so many speeches on how immature boys are, and he's completely correct. Boys are bad news, period. So, let me tell you a story. I was gonna go to homecoming with a football player from a different school, and I told Mr. LeBron about it. He immediately told me that it was a bad idea and didn't expand on why, but it just was because he was a football player. Long story short, it was a bad idea. He was right, like always. So honestly, I just focus on myself at this point because according to him, all athletes are a no, especially wrestlers. Those are some of his words of advice. Mr. LeBron is like a second father to me because of his encouraging influence. Firstly, by making sure I put my all into becoming the runner I want to be. Secondly, by keeping me motivated with his amazing speeches. Thirdly, by making sure I make smart choices that will be best for me. All in all, having a bunch of small stories with someone comes together and ends up having a huge impact on your life. And I'm so thankful to have these stories with my coach, my second father, the one and only Mr. LeBron.